Hello, welcome to today's HR Huddle, December 5th. And joining me is Renee Moelders. Renee, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, Tamera, I'm super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, so we've been working in our organization on year-end planning so that we can truly unplug. Renee is a little passionate about this topic and wrote about it and coaches her leadership participants in it. And she was like, I think we should talk about some of the things that we do so we can unplug. Many of you know that we close our business from Christmas or a couple days before Christmas. We're closing the afternoon of the 21st with a holiday party. So we'll be closed that Thursday and Friday and return back to work on December 9th. So we try to take 2 full weeks off over the holidays. And so we've gotten really good at planning for our closure and making sure our clients are taken care of, making sure all our processes are handled. And we know some of you close or have extended. We were just talking about the holidays fall on a weekend. And so there might be some extended breaks that firms are doing, or some do close in between, the holidays, or just trying to actually just have some downtime for whatever planned time off people have. So we thought we would just take a few minutes today and talk about, how can we set ourselves and our people up to be able to truly unplug. And Renee, I don't know if you had a place you wanted to start with that.
Well, I have a couple of introductory thoughts before we get into it, Tamera. So we are working on our data from the Anytime, Anywhere Work survey right now. We're almost done with what we call the survey results summary, which is a white paper. And interestingly, 25% of participating firms close between Christmas and New Year's, or they picked another week, but they close for a week during the year. So just kind of interesting in terms of what we are doing at Convergence, and then we're seeing more and more firms do that. That's kind of a big percentage, of our survey set, which I just thought was kind of interesting that I should mention.
Yeah.
And then as far as where to start, first of all, I would just want to say, hopefully firms and firm leaders are talking to their people about what do you have planned. Because there is this component of this. I was thinking about it with you and myself, Tamera. I'm a big planner. So I really think way ahead about my time off and my schedule and all of that. And I don't know if naturally that's your style. And so I'm thinking about like some of our people in their firms. Some of them are big planners. They plan ahead. They get it all mapped out. Other people are like, yeah, I prefer to kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And so first of all, we need to make sure everybody's going to take some time off, going to rest, going to recharge. And maybe not, it doesn't have to be right now around the holidays, but we do need to sort of be on top of that as shepherds, as people responsible for other human beings in the firm. We should be making sure they're planning some rest and recharge time.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that's a really good point. I do think people have different styles. We obviously have different styles. I've become a big planner because of just my client load and managing everything else and the commitments.
Right. I mean,
you just have to
everything in your life.
Exactly. And I think that is something that people get in trouble with. And we coach, people in our leadership programs on this is they don't feel like they can take time off because the client volume is so monumental, or because of internal initiatives. We're starting new technology implementations that we want to have live for the first of the year, or outsourcing or offshoring or whatever. And we do need to anticipate when can we get different things done and manage expectations around time off, so people can really truly feel like they have time off for themselves, but also their families. Because their families, are watching this going, geez, when are you going to really be down? And how does this work for you to, just be on all the time? And how can we have you even for a couple days over a long weekend? Or if we're closed for extended period of time, or finish your PTO. I know we've been talking a lot about that in these HR huddles, is making sure people take PTO. And it depends on what practice area you're in. It's, might be easier for some than others, but, figuring out how we have that, time off. So that planning, I think, is critical. And I think it really is, looking at what do we need for the clients and to communicate to clients. Let's start there, and then we can look at some internal processes. Renee, maybe we organize this conversation that way. Because a couple of things that we do to manage client expectations, we've been doing this for years. We put in our signature line, a PS, In observance of the holiday season, we close for 2 weeks from these dates. We will be back in the office, on January 9th. We'll check our corporate voicemail once a day on these days, not on the holidays or the observed holidays, because it's on a weekend this year. And so that people know that they know that in advance. We're also telling people that in our meetings with them. We're telling people that in our recaps to them. I am facilitating a session tomorrow, and we'll let them know that follow up from any sessions we're doing. I know Samantha and Jen are at DCPA and Digital CPA, and you're going to be doing a remote session. We have to manage those expectations. We also put a pop-up on our website. So it's the first thing people see. Hey, heads up, we're going to be closed. And so it starts there, just really letting people know and managing those expectations so that we can talk about it and say, what do you need before then? And what's really great about that is a lot of times it's like, I don't need anything till January. No problem. Let's schedule something for January, or I don't need that till January. Otherwise, we feel like we have to clean our desk and everything has to get done, and it doesn't. It will be there when we get back from whatever length of break we are taking. And so it can reduce some of that pressure and stress. Like, I have to have my desk cleared before I can really take any time. It's really not going to ever be cleared.
That's right. Yeah. And if we were going out, like if I were going out on a 2-week vacation and the rest of the team was going to be around, I would be handing off some things to other people. Right. But for our business, we're putting it to sleep. And so we need to put all our projects to sleep. We need to let all of our clients know we're going to sleep so that there are no surprises. And we map that out probably like a month to 6 weeks ahead of time. We start thinking about, yeah, that's right. And start having those conversations. That's pretty huge. Same thing with going on vacation, Tamera, and I like to relate it to that because some people here, they're not shutting down their business. And so if you're taking 3, 4, 5 a week off, then start talking about it now. It's not too late to start mapping some of that out and then having some of those conversations. And some of it comes up organically. Like I'll get on the phone with a client and we'll be talking and I'll say, so just thinking about the timeline, I just want to make sure you remember that we will be closed for these 2 weeks. And so we'll pick things back up on January 10th or something when we have our next meeting. So I allow it to be organic like that. Sometimes it's much more intentional that we send specific messages, or we say in building the timeline, this is going to cross over a vacation or our shutdown. And so we're going to consider that in the timeline. So just being really, really transparent, important. And then also that mapping and that planning and anticipating what might come up or what might be an issue and saying, we want to be sure we get this handled ahead of time.
Right.
So being 100% responsible, Tamera, I think we need to say that. It's like, I am 100% responsible for where I find myself on December 21st. And I'm probably going to end up with 2 lists. We make a work to do at Convergence Coaching. So that's like, my work to do is the stuff I'm planning to get done this week. And so, I'll probably need to have 2, which is the stuff I'm going to get done before I go out for the shutdown and the stuff that I'm going to push to afterwards.
Right.
And if I'm pushing it to afterwards, I need to reset expectations. If I told people that was coming before, I need to reset expectations. So there's this whole kind of like shuffle and management process that goes on. And I'm 100% responsible for where I find myself.
Yeah, exactly. And if we can reset expectations early, because we're doing the planning, they can plan too, because there's a domino effect, right? And so if we can, I'm not going to do it on December 21st. There might be a couple things that come up, but I'm resetting those expectations probably a week out or 10 days out because I already know, because I've been doing the anticipating and planning and thinking. And I like that you're tying that to vacation, because people are like, I can't unplug. It's like, yes, you can. You really can. If you manage this upfront and you communicate it and you say who's got the ball, and there's a backup in place, or I'll talk to you when we get back and we have something calendared. I can maybe then check in twice. Like we might do that with each other and say, I'll check in on Tuesday and Thursday. And if I don't have any texts from you, I assume everything is good. And we try super hard not to text each other. We really try to respect, those vacations. So once in a while, there's like, a program or something that's already scheduled, and we are scheduled 3 years out. Renee and I were looking at 2024 dates today. And so sometimes there's things that, it's like, okay, I have to do this while I'm out. But we really try to limit that. And I just think that's super important. And I
Yeah.
think go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say we guard our yeses too, and we're good
Yes.
about guarding each other's yeses.
Yes.
And that's one of the ways that we support each other is to say, because we run things by each other as far as projects we want to take on or initiatives we want to do. And so, we'll say like, wow, that seems close to your vacation, or that's going to be close to our 2 weeks off at the end of the year. Maybe we should rethink that. So we support each other on that. And then it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, I'm not really sure that that's the right timing, or I'm concerned about that. Let's talk about it. It's all right to guard those yeses. And I think, again, 100% responsible. We don't like to say no. We like to say yes. We like to help our clients. We like to be able to do things internally. But boy, we've got to be careful, because I also said yes to my family, that I'm going to spend time with them, and yes to myself, that I'm going to get that break that I really need. So I think we just have to really watch those yeses. It's huge.
Yes, I agree. I was doing this at church, a week ago Saturday. I met with our interim pastor, and we have some leaves going on at church for health reason, and so we were meeting to say, what do we need between now and the end of the year? And we were having this conversation. We celebrate Christmas at our church, and we always do a Christmas Eve service. Well, Christmas Day we usually don't do a service, and we have a link to the cathedral. Well, it's on a Sunday. And, the pastor's like, I don't really want to do service on Sunday. I'm like, I really don't have a problem with that, because I won't be there. I'll be there on Christmas Eve. But there are some people that prefer it. And somebody said, I'll come, and let's keep it simple. And this is what we're going to do. And we don't need any other resources. And this is how we'll do music, and, completely managed it. So it allows us to really say, how do we, have the important things that matter to people, and we can flex around that. And so if we're over here doing it by ourselves, that's my point, I think, is that if we're over here doing it by myself, I'm making it up. And there are ways we can either make it happen or support each other in the no, Renee, like you're saying. It's like, no, we don't actually need to do that. It's fine. It will be fine. Let's pick it back up then, or let's communicate to whoever we need to communicate to. And I think we need to do a better job usually of that with all our internal initiatives, because everybody's running towards year end and has all these year-end goals, and we want to be ready in January for our next peak season, but we're not coordinating with each other, and then we need a bunch of resources. And so, what is it that we are committing to, and what's required, and managing a checklist, and it could be as simple as what's our HR checklist through the end of the year that we need to have, tied up, ready to go, or what's our accounting checklist, like all our invoices, WIP reviewed, time in, what's the cutoff, et cetera. And then our technology, list, what do we have to have, for that to be in place, communications, backup. And if we have that and we anticipate it a few weeks in advance, we can coordinate so much better, but we can also say, all right, what has to get done? Here's what has to get done. Here's what the nice to haves are that can push if we need to. And I think thinking about that, anticipating it, and getting in conversation about it makes a huge difference.
It does. Well, Tamara, a couple of things you're making me think of. Our clients want us to rest and recharge too. Some of them might push back, or they might say, gosh, I was really hoping we'd be able to talk, on the 30th to get my tax planning done. But I think if we say that ahead of time to them, most people are going to say, I completely understand. And I honor the fact that you're taking some time off. I'm going to take some time off too. So transparency works in our favor with our clients, because they want the best for us too. Mostly they are our partners. And so I don't know that everybody does that. That's something we do really well at Convergence, that we're really honest about. We have a personal life and a business life. And so I would encourage anyone who's listening to, just be transparent with all of your teams about what you're up to, and collaborate them like the way that you're talking about, Tamara.
Yeah.
And then, I was also thinking about this handoff that we do. And we do it a lot internally, and we do it with our client projects too, where we're clear before we go about who has the ball. And so, like for instance, sending an email to a client to say, this is where we're ending right now, here's where we are. I'm going out for 2 weeks. We're going to pick it back up on January 10th. just so that they're in the loop about where things stand. There are no surprises. We've kind of like are on the same page. I think you could use that handoff email idea that we use internally also with clients. That would be really valuable.
For sure.
And then one other thought I had, Tamera, and that is, like when you're talking about year-end checklists and all of this organization that we can do, we have gotten so good at that at Convergence. And you know why? It's because we have this awesome admin and operations team that's managing all that for us. And we help to build it. We used to do it ourselves before we had those folks. I would say we didn't do it in such a systematized manner.
Right.
I mean, they are running us. We're getting an email every Monday that says, here's what you need to do this week to get ready for the shutdown. So they're kind of pushing us towards that goal and making sure that we keep it top of mind. We were never as good at that. And then we were like last minute trying to throw it all together before we got out. And so that's the value. You've heard us talking in this HR Huddle, or if you're reading our blogs, we're talking a lot about the value of admin and operations personnel, and not just that they provide capacity for you, but they have this whole skill set that we don't even have or really don't apply of organization and systemization to help you get ready for these kinds of events, like shutting down your business or taking time off. They can help you have a system and help you kind of maintain that, stay on top of that.
And I think one of the things that's created, excuse me, is empathy. We have empathy for the processes now, instead of like we would skid in on the accounting, and our former accounting person, accounting manager would just be frustrated. We didn't really get what we were doing to her. So I think that's important too, is that empathy. And I have to get a drink of water, Renee, so maybe you continue that thought.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fair. Well, that's right. Understanding how we're impacting other people, that they have brought that to the equation. I think that's important. And and we just, it was not front of mind for us because we had so many things going on. But it's a great point.
And I don't think people have visibility to the HR processes that are happening at the end of the year, or the year-end processes in tax, or how to wrap up advisory, projects, or our accounting processes, or whatever it is that we have to have in place for year-end. And we just don't have visibility to that. And our clients for sure don't have visibility to everything else we're doing with other clients. We always say write recaps for clients so people can see our steps, so that they understand the impact that they're having if they're off track, or how we're passing the ball back and forth between each other. We just assume either it doesn't matter, or they should know and they don't, or that or my peers should know, my partner should know, or other departments should know, or people should know what's happening in HR. And it's our responsibility, back to 100% responsible. It's our responsibility to communicate that. And that's part of what those Monday emails are that we're getting. Here's all the steps. Here's what you have to do this week. Here's everything that we have to get done. And it's huge, for the whole team to understand that. And you can define your team however you need to define your team, but we would look outside of HR as an example, or outside of finance and operations. Hopefully operations is coordinating across the groups. But maybe your service line leaders don't understand the impact of what they're doing. And we could get frustrated and irritated about that, but we could stop and say, what am I communicating or not communicating about that could improve that, ability, to work with them, so that they understood and they could get their stuff done, so it doesn't have this negative impact on me.
Yeah, well, you're making me think about hiring. Like, some people might be bringing on folks in January right now, and a tax person could say, well, we're going to have 3 people start, and we're going to have one of them start at the end of December and 2 start in early January.
Right.
Smart HR person says, hang on just a second, let's get this systematized. And you're bringing on 3 people, and I've got 3 starting over here in audit, and we're going to bring them all on. How about, propose something else? And really share, I love where you are, Tamera, the impact of having all of this, different schedules. And I'm planning to take some time off. I mean, it's all, fair to bring that up and to get that systematized. And if HR doesn't do it, I don't know that anybody's going to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we'll share an article with you that Renee wrote on truly unplugging that we think will help. And if you have any questions about our year-end processes, from our operations, perspective, we're happy to answer them. You can reach out to us. But we're sure you're doing some of this, but we just thought this might help you think maybe broader that you might have been, or a reminder to say, hey, if we haven't jumped into this, it's time. We're in denial. It's December 5th. So hopefully this helps you have a smooth year end. We hope you are finding time to enjoy the holiday season. We know there's lots of holidays happening this month. So hopefully you're, enjoying that, and that you do take some time here at the end of the year to re-energize, recharge, and come back for a great 2023. So we will see you again next week. Thanks for being with us today, and let us know if you have any thoughts or questions. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you, Tamara. Good to be with you.